Self-care is one of those things that we often put off, that we make everything else a priority. Or in the moment of wanting to do things in a particular way, we forget about the impact that that has on later life. There is no doubt that those people who are physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually healthy are going to have a far better quality of life, which is going to last far longer. It's the choices that we make moment by moment that make a difference. So let me talk to you about some of these. And I want to keep this to under 10 minutes, but I want it to really hit home. Everything that you put into your mouth, whether that's food, alcohol, drugs, water, everything that you put into your mouth is your choice. And ultimately, those choices have a huge impact. Now, one of my favourite foods is cake. But I recognise that if I eat too much cake and I put on too much weight, take too much sugar in, then the chances of me getting diabetes is far greater. Those people who recognise that balance in everything and making sure that you eat plenty of fruit and vegetables, that you hydrate properly, that you get plenty of sleep, that you don't drink too much alcohol, that you don't use drugs inappropriately, it's not rocket science. If you do all of those things, then you're going to be healthier. But why is it that we know the right way to do things and yet we still don't do it? We want that instant gratification that the cake, the biscuit, the glass of wine gives us. And that's very often used as an anaesthetic because at the heart of everything, we don't actually like who we are. We have poor self-worth and poor confidence. And so it's really important that if you want to live a long, happy and healthy life, that you also take note of your mental health and your emotional health. And that means dealing with the baggage. You know, if you've had an unhappy childhood, you've been abused, that you've lacked confidence all your life, then by the time you get to 60, isn't it time to have sorted it out? Isn't it time to have laid those ghosts to rest and to have forgiven whoever it was that has made us unhappy or has abused us? Now remember, forgiveness is not about condoning or about forgetting. But when you hold on to the hurt, that's like taking the poison yourself and expecting other people to die. If you are someone who suffers from low mood, who suffers from depression, then it's time to deal with it. Because if you want a long and healthy life, a life that is full of joy and of happiness, that actively is your choice. Now, of course, there are things that make it more of a challenge. I know that as somebody who's been a wheelchair user since 1987, it would have been very, very easy to focus on all of the things I couldn't do rather than the things I could. It brings me to our spiritual health. That when we really focus on the things that make us joyful, that when we look to how we might help other people, that we feel better about ourselves. Self-care is where it starts. How many people listening to this, whether you're listening to it live or the replay, are very good at telling everybody else how they should do it, are very good at caring for everybody else, but you don't do it yourself. Now, by the time you're 60, you have the opportunity to make choices in a very different way than earlier on in your life when you've got a family to run or you've got a job to do or a business to run. When everybody else's priorities seem to take on a much bigger importance than your own. Well, that's the danger. But by the time you get into your 6th decade, it's time for you to make a choice and to really think about what is it that makes you happy? What are the things that you need to do to ensure that you stay healthy? And that all starts with self-care. When you go on an aeroplane, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first because then you can help more people. And it's actually the same with self-care. You may like takeaways. I do. You may like donuts. Well, I would if I wasn't a celiac. But ultimately, it's about knowing what keeps you healthy. Because let's use diabetes as an example. It's the number of people with diabetes has exploded. If you get type 2 diabetes, and they know that there is a huge link between diabetes and being overweight, and that if you reduce your weight, then you can get yourself out of being a type 2 diabetic. Type 1 diabetes is a completely different ballgame. But if you do get diabetes, then you're likely to have problems with your eyesight, your circulation, your immune system is affected, your capacity to heal is affected. All of those have a long-term impact on your life. If you've been someone who's unhappy and that you find life limited and boring, that you don't get out and meet people and socialise, and I do appreciate that with COVID that's been difficult, but if you don't take an interest in other people, don't stimulate your mind by learning, it's very easy to fall into that slump. And yet the alternative is actually quite easy to orchestrate. Learning something new. We know our neural pathways in our brain, they continue to be plastic to be able to create new neural pathways by learning. And the longer you do that and the more you do that, the more able you will be mentally. If you're feeling low, if you're feeling fed up, it's very easy to slide into that depression. Think about other people. Go and do something that makes a positive difference to other people, or to animals, or to the environment. Look for a sense of purpose. Be creative. Paint, draw, cook, sew, sing, play music. Learn a new language. The more you engage in life, the better it will be. Life is not a spectator sport. Take time out, meditate, intentionally journal. And that's one of the reasons why I've created Genuinely New. And that's a workbook, and you'll find that on Amazon. Ultimately, the quality of your life is absolutely down to you. And so I would urge you, think about self-care, not self-indulgence. There is a world of difference. Caring for yourself, loving who you are, and looking after yourself so that you maintain your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual health throughout your life. You'll live longer, you'll live happier, you'll be more productive when you live a life of passion and purpose. And you can be passionate about what you do, whatever that is. It means being wholehearted about what you do. So I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday when we'll have the next one of these. If you're listening to the replay, please let us know what you think. Go and have a look on Amazon, you'll find all my books there. But the latest one, which is specifically about this, and of course I've forgotten to put the book close enough to the camera to show you, is Genuinely New. I'll put a picture of it in the comments. So thanks for joining me, and whether you're listening to the replay, please make a comment, let us know what you think, and what are your most important practices for self-care. And if you don't have any, what are you going to do in the next week that will be different, that will make a positive impact on your health? So thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Bye bye now.